Last time on Sprigg Plays Lamento Beyond the Void. Right now, you're full of mysteries. You don't know what to do. But go ahead and worry, suffer, struggle. Someone is interested in watching you. Watching me? That's right. Always watching you. Your arm. The murderous look faded from the eyes of the Kirin cat when he looked at Konoe's arm, where the gauntlet was torn off. His gaze turned next to his ears and tail. Konoe's hood had fallen while he was fighting, so his ears had been exposed. Who are you? That's what I came here to find out. What do you mean? Konoe picked up the torn gauntlet and glanced at his bared arm. Even in the darkness, he could clearly see his mark. They became like this all of a sudden. I wanted to know what these are, so I came here. I have questions to ask Kira. I don't intend to accommodate strangers, but I understand how you feel. There was a time when the surrounding opposition would bare their fangs at us, too. It will be a harsh life with that body, perhaps even more than it is for us. Especially if this wasn't by your own choice. It is even more painful when the others don't understand. Konoe grit his teeth and clenched his fist, his claws cutting into his palm. He didn't need to be here any longer. Konoe turned on his heels and started to walk towards the door. Do you have a place to stay? He froze when the elder's voice suddenly called out. No. I don't mind if you stay in the village until the moon of light rises. Well, the elder ordered you to watch over me. If you actually hate it, I just thought I'd apologize, that's all. His voice trailed off. Oh, Asato answered vaguely. It neither confirmed nor denied what he said. Your eyes are beautiful. What? He answered reflexively. What did he say all of a sudden? This came out of nowhere, and he didn't understand what Asato meant. Not really, it's just a common color. You can find it anywhere. No. Asato shook his head lightly, then looked at Konoe from the corner of his eye. It's not the color. Your eyes, when we fought, they were powerful. When they fought, he was talking about when they'd first met. He was just desperately trying not to succumb to Asato's bloodthirst. And your fur, too. And you have a crooked tail. Pointing it out made Konoe feel his anger boil. He felt like Asato was pointing it out just to embarrass him. A crooked tail was by no means attractive. Well, sorry for having a crooked tail. At that blunt answer, Asato's ears stood straight. No, I think it's pretty. Konoe didn't really know what Asato meant. He's flirting with you. Well, yours is prettier. Huh? Asato looked at Konoe with wide eyes. Konoe had only said what he honestly felt, but when he saw Asato making a face like that, he felt like he'd done something wrong. At that time, they were unaware of what was happening in Kira. Kill him? They heard voices. Kill him, kill him. The voices descended on all the cats of Kira, whispering softly in their ears. You saw him. Those were the signs of the curse. Kill him, expel him. The whispers stirred the hearts of the cats in Kira. Red flames rose inside their chests. The voices rose from there as well. Their pupils narrowed and deep growls escaped from their throats. A shadowy figure stood in the center of the fog-shrouded village of Kira. The shadow was clad in flames. The black heat waves, bordered in red, swayed and rose into the air. His slightly parted lips spun the words, "Expel him." And here we go. Konoe. Wake up, Konoe. You have to wake up. Hearing someone call his name roused Konoe from his sleep. Through his blurred vision, he saw Asato's face. He slowly raised his body using his elbows. Coming out of an extremely deep sleep, his mind was in a daze. Run. Run? He was surprised to hear something like that so suddenly, but Asato's face was completely serious. Hurry. Suddenly, his ears picked up the sound of something rustling outside Asato's home. Konoe tried to listen carefully. There appeared to be several cats surrounding them. What's going on? No time to explain. Konoe crawled out from under the blanket and stood up to dress, then slung his bag over his shoulder. Asato seemed to be ready to go. Konoe grasped the doorknob, and their breaths caught, and he threw the door open. The base of his tail shivered and stood on end. It was dark outside, and several cats stood there, shrouded in the darkness. They had Asato's home surrounded. Konoe felt their terrible bloodthirst. Ooh, kill him. You gotta kill him. Kill him. Like, kill the outsider. Their curses were directed at Konoe. He regarded the cats before him in disbelief. They certainly had not welcomed him, but he didn't think they would turn on him like this. Perhaps they had learned about his detestable body during the night. And after all, he didn't look normal. Kill him. He's a spy. A Meiji cat. Oh. The elder stepped out into the lead and pointed at Konoe as he yelled in a loud voice. When Konoe saw the elder, he was shocked into speechlessness. Why did the chieftain think that? Had it been a trap? Couldn't be true. He never thought that there were false words exchanged between them. Confused, Konoe looked up at Asato. Asato stared intently at the Kirin cats with a solemn face. What's going on? I don't know. Asato slowly shook his head. In the meantime, the cats of Kira raised their voices and growled, seemingly ready to pounce at any moment. Asato, kill him. If you want to consider yourself a cat of Kira, you'll kill him. That's right. Why don't you make yourself useful for once, God? Asato. Konoe couldn't believe what he was hearing. At the same time, the Kirin cats turned their bloodthirst from Konoe to Asato. Asato's face stiffened and he merely looked straight ahead. All the while, a black flame smoldered in the eyes of the Kirin cats. It was coming. Konoe could feel it instinctively. He couldn't control it. His heart began to beat profusely. His bad premonition became worse. For an instant, a serpent flashed through his mind. A red snake. He felt something wriggling in the depths of his stomach. At this rate, they'll corner you. Run. Konoe nodded at Asato's words. He wanted to get away right now. Konoe, escape to the right. What about you? No time to talk. Just go. Hurry. What are you gonna do, big guy? Hey! Before Konoe could tell him to stop, Asato lowered his stance and plunged into the front line at full force. Asato smoothly drew his dark, gleaming sword. Asato! You bastard, what are you doing? The elder was the first to raise his growling voice. Then, all at once, the cats of Kira attacked Asato. As Asato began to fight back against them, he drew them to the left. Several remaining cats growled threateningly at Konoe. Clicking his tongue, Konoe immediately ran towards his right. He didn't know what was going on, but he didn't want to let Asato's efforts go to waste either. He could feel them chasing after him. He had to escape. He thought this fervently as he weaved through the night, slipping past the area dotted with houses. As if to tear through even his thoughts, one cat caught up with Konoe and slashed at him with his sword. Konoe pulled out his sword to immediately parry the blow, then retaliated. The cat staggered, then bared his fangs and lashed out at Konoe with his opposite hand. Sharp claws grazed Konoe's cheek. Thump. His heart beat harshly. It was coming, just as he thought. His emotional empathy. A sharp pain ran throughout his body. There was a weight on his chest as he tried to control his emotions. He clenched his teeth. Well... Let's see, sad was the blue one that talked about death a lot, I think. Pleasant, delighted. I think delighted was the green snake, the first one. And I'm guessing pleasant was gropey, rapey snake, the yellow one. Jeez, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll just, like, pick sad because I liked the blue scene more than the other two, so, yeah. His chest was crushed. An extraordinarily sad feeling touched him, and he felt like tears would overflow from his eyes at any moment. Whenever the emotions clashed, it was like billowing waves filling him with hatred, hatred, hatred. His feeling was completely different from what he felt with the bandits. It ran deep inside him, like a profoundly muddy stream. It continued to crush his heart. Nevertheless, he couldn't stop. Konoe couldn't compare to the Kirin cats in build or fighting style. The other cats sped up and caught up with Konoe, their attacks accelerating to overtake him. One kicked off the ground and leapt at Konoe, swinging a large sword at him at full force. Konoe brandished his own sword and held it over his head to block the airborne attack. In a split second, the sharp tip of the thin sword was thrust out at his side. Konoe evaded by jumping to the side, and then kicked his feet and pushed forward. Right in front of his nose was the cat who had struck at him just a moment ago. He lunged forward and met sword with sword. In a split second, he growled threateningly and thrust his left arm out towards the cat's face. A scream rent the air. Konoe dug his claws into the cat's face, then moved his hand to his windpipe. Red oozed from the gaps between his fingers where he'd clawed at the skin. He could feel the cat's hot pulse against the palm of his hand, but Konoe had no intention of killing him. There was no time. Konoe released his throat. The thick blood sticking to his hand shone in the edge of his vision. A ferocious impulse filled him. A growl escaped from his lips. At that moment, as if he'd lost the strength in his body, he fell to his knees as pain raged through him. Sweat trickled from his temple, down his cheeks, and dripped off his chin. Konoe didn't know if the grinding sound he heard was his teeth clenching or a headache. The Kirin cats were strong. Without caring about his own appearance, Konoe lifted his sword, bared his fangs, and ran off. Shaking off the cats pursuing him, Konoe ran from Kira as if tearing through the darkness. His feet felt slow. He stepped harder on the mud. Aiming for the cliffs, he recklessly ran on. Dragging his tail, Konoe climbed up where the slopes were less steep. He pushed hard with his legs and desperately kicked off, never looking back. He climbed back up again. He finally made it up the cliffs and began to run a bit further, but suddenly his body relaxed. Like a toy that had lost its screws, he abruptly fell to the ground. He felt leaves and twigs against his cheek, and he smelled the earth. The numbness made him fail to notice that the empathic pain was relieved considerably, and he didn't feel the presence of any pursuers either. He raised his head and looked around. It's that tree again. He was in the forest. He'd made it back. Konoe slowly took in deep breaths. This is where the poet had led him to, or at least the illusion of the poet. We're not It wasn't really clear if that was actually him or not. Meanwhile, in Kira,
There's no way out. Give it up, Asato.
The elder laughed triumphantly. Asato, who had lured away the rampaging Kirin cats, was cornered at the outskirts of the village. He was surrounded, their bloodlust overflowing. Everyone glared at Asato with frightening eyes. Many of them growled threateningly. Asato held his sword low and watched as the ring of cats surrounding him gradually tightened up.
You bastard. Turning your sword on your brethren. Have you gone mad? Because of you, that cursed cat got away.
The elder growled with vicious disgust. As if also provoked, the surrounding cats lowly growled as well. Surrounded by this whirlpool of rage, Asato calmly observed the Kirin cats. Kira respected its families and honored its traditions and bloodlines above all else. Though they were moody, things rarely got rough. But then there was the case of the Meiji, the evil tribe with whom Kira was always on hateful terms. The eyes of the elder and the other cats were no longer sane. He worried about the sudden strange change. Asato remembered. They'd called Konoe a spy. Was it true? He suddenly felt doubtful, but while he faced the cats surrounding him, a shadow suddenly blurred his vision, then disappeared. It was a tall shadow that stood some way off in silence. Vivid red hair swayed in the dusky breeze. It appeared to be observing them. It seemed to be laughing. Was it a cat of Kira? Asato wondered if there was such a person here. He strained his eyes uncomfortably. Something stuck up from its temple, too sharp to be an ear. Wait, could it be?
Your mother gave birth to a terrible cat. No, not a cat. A detestable child sent to destroy us. A monster.
The elder spat with a sneer. Asato immediately looked at him. He forgot about that shadow. The sound of something breaking tore him from his calm thoughts. That's right, you're a monster. You're a demon. Encouraged, they began to speak one after the other. Their words weighed on him in succession, words full of malice, words that Asato did not want to hear. Unbearable impulses rose inside of him. Intense rage spiraled up his spine and burst out, rushing out of him. Asato couldn't take it any longer. He could take no more than this. I am not a monster. Stop it now. Asato's voice sounded like it was writhing over the earth. It cracked. He unconsciously bared his fangs. His entire body stiffened and trembled. He desperately tried to hold back his rage, but he couldn't restrain himself. Asato glared at the cats surrounding him, strange sensations floating over him. From the depths of his stomach, he let out a roar. The deep howl made the cats of Kira freeze up. Well, this is interesting. He's cursed. The cat stepped back, eyes fearful as if awoken. Teh. The elder bitterly clicked his tongue and daringly stepped forward out of the retreating circle. He hissed softly in threat and calmly regarded Asato.
Listen carefully. That cat escaped because of you. You are responsible. Bring him back here. Kill him. He is a cat of Meiji. He cannot be left alive. This is an order. I will not tolerate failure, he slowly declared. He finished speaking, emphasizing his final words, then looked to the Kirin cats to signal them back. The ring surrounding Asato dispersed, and the black flames faded from the eyes of the Kirin cats. The intense impulse burning in Asato's body disappeared as well, but he kept staring intensely at the elder and the village cats. The elder had ordered it. For the cats of Kira, it was something tied to their very blood. It was absolute. Disobeying a command was like defiling the existence of Kira. They didn't know any other way to live. The thought of abandoning Kira, just thinking of it, it seemed like a fate worse than death. Asato was no exception, even if everyone hated him, and Asato cursed the thought. He could do nothing but obey.
It was etched into his very consciousness.
If you understand, hurry up and go.
As if resisting, Asato bared his fangs and growled lowly, but in the end he turned his face away, as if something was leading him. Without looking back, he ran through the dispersed ring of Kirin cats, past the Elder. He ran in the direction where Konoe had escaped. It was an order.